Well, welcome everyone to this session on decision modeling with the decision model and notation language. There are times in one's career when you come across something that really changes the way that you look at the field that you've been working in. For me, decision modeling with this decision model and notation language, commonly referred to by its acronym DMN, decision model and notation, was one of those things that changed the way that I looked at modeling. So many people create models of things, and those models are useful for communication, for clarifying one's ideas, even for producing code in some circumstances. But decision model and notation is a technology or an idea that bridges across between people working in strategy, people that are working in requirements, and people that are working in the implementation of systems. I'm just going to take a little bit of time to talk about the context of this and where we came from before we had decision models. Just going to open up a diagram now that shows some of the things that we've looked at, we've used before in modeling, and this diagram is a diagram I've just put together to describe some technologies or some languages that are used for modeling. One of the ones that people are familiar with is a process diagram, a business process diagram, either done in UML activity diagrams or more commonly in business process model and notation. So you can see there's a decision inside that called a gateway in the language, where we receive a request and then we validate the request, and depending upon whether it's true or false, we take a particular action or activity. So that's a common way to model decisions. Another way is the decision tree. So the decision tree is it's a piece of technology in Enterprise Architect that allows you to model decisions, and you can put the diamond element on there and then create true or false results there. We can see in this one, in the middle of this one, we've got available flights, and we notify the customer to change the flights if they're not available. If they're true, then we go on and book hotels. There's another thing that has existed in Enterprise Architect, which very few people know about, which is the simple decision table. If I launch this, you'll see, whoopsie daisy, if I right mouse click on it rather and launch the decision table, you can see that it brings up a decision table that's got some inputs and some outcomes. So that's something that has been in Enterprise Architect for a long time, but not that many people know about. But it is a way of modeling decisions. Another way of modeling decisions is simply to write the decisions in something like using a policy element or connected to a business rule. And so this is a kind of textual business policies and business rules, customer loyalty. And so you write some things there, policies and business rules. Bronze members who fly frequently will be rewarded in some way. The other thing we come to is the decision model and notation, and what's called the decision requirements diagram. So this is what we're going to be concentrating on today. We're not going to be talking about any of those other ways of modeling decisions, but rather this thing that has captivated my attention now for many years. And I have had the pleasure of working with a number of clients in a very diverse range of industries where we've used this technology, the decision model and notation. So how does it actually work? What does it look like? Before we get into some more of the meat, I'm just going to show you some examples of it working. So let's have a look. Let's have a look at this. We're going to concentrate on something called or a scenario about an airline cabin upgrade. So I don't know, I presume most of you have flown quite a bit on airlines, and if you're a business traveler, you may have had that experience of, driving to the airport or getting transport to the airport and wondering whether you're going to get an upgrade to your economy booking or your business booking, and you turn up at the check-in, and if you're very, very lucky, then the check-in person will say, Mr. Jones, Mrs. Smith, we're going to upgrade you to a higher cabin for this flight. So let's have a look at the in action, and then we'll come back and look at it in some detail. So what we've got on the screen now is a diagram that I've created to demonstrate what's going on with this particular scenario, determine the cabin for upgrade. So imagine that we're at the check-in and we've got a whole lot of reasons why that might happen. Now, when you present yourself as a customer, as a passenger, you are pretty much not privy to the reasons why you're getting that upgrade. And typically, you know, there might be a script that the person's reading, there might be a kind of a diagram that you know, determines whether you get the upgrade or not. But we're going to show now a completely different way of looking at it. So what we've got is a number of elements here, and I'll go through them later, but there's a decision element here, a business knowledge model, and I'm just going to click on that. And you can see this has brought up a what's called a DMN expression window. Now that expression window contains a lot of information about whether this person should get, or the decisions about whether this person should get an upgrade or not. It's divided into columns. So we can see a column that says flights last month. We can see another one saying the passengers are overbooked. So that's the typical kind of primary trigger for someone getting an upgrade, is that they've overbooked the economy cabin and they need to shift 5 or 6 passengers up into business or first class. And that requires that those cabins are also available. Catering being available is another one, because if catering's not available, then they typically won't put you up to a higher class. I had the misfortune once of being upgraded from economy to first class, and only for them to announce to me very early on the flight that there wasn't enough catering for first class meals. So I had a seat, but I had to eat economy food. Then we've got the membership level. So if you've got a gold, a silver, a bronze level, that will determine what's happening. And then the one in pink is the upgrade cabin. So it's talking about which cabin you're going to be upgraded to, if you're so lucky, based on the particular rules. So what we also have is the ability to simulate this. So what we can do is simulate this, and the simulation window pops up over here to the right, and now I can press the simulate button. And something has gone wrong there. Let me just see what I can do about that. I'm just going to close this model very briefly and restart it. I think I've just, I was adjusting something when we first came in. I'll just try that again. Be aware of the fact that I'm running live here, which is always a little bit tricky. And also I'm using version 17, a beta release of that, which also hasn't been officially released yet. Let's go to another model and look at that. This one here, maybe. Look at that again. I'm going to drop a legend onto this. If you're not familiar with legends, you know, this is a good way to dynamically change the colors of your elements. And I'm going to again select this guy here, a slightly different model, and I'm going to choose that simulation, and I will run that simulation now. So what you can see is happened is that there are some little red annotations beside the elements, and so we can see next to the customer, it's talking about how many flights they had last month and what their membership is. Against catering, it's saying it's false, and against passengers, overbooked is 5. So everything being equal, possibly this passenger might have got an upgrade, but because the catering is unavailable, then the upgrade won't go ahead. Now we can step through this, which is quite a nice feature. I can step through this and look at what's going on. I can say, okay, this particular customer has got flights last month of 0, membership is silver, catering is false, and its passengers overbooked is 5. And what's the result? And it will highlight the particular line. So I can turn the simulation off, and I can choose a different customer. So this is another very nice feature of the product, is that I can choose a different data set to run my simulations. So effectively, you're doing kind of what if analysis. So this time I'm going to say that catering is true, and the cabin is going to be overbooked by 5 passengers. And let's just have a look at the result now. So what's happened now is something that's quite different. The flights last month is 3, the membership is gold, catering is available, and the passengers are overbooked by 5. So the passenger is going to get an upgrade to business. So let's just take a little step back from what we've looked at. The real advantage of this is that it's relatively simple for people in the business side, either a business analyst or a non-technical business analyst, to actually draw these diagrams and go, what are we, what kind of rules have we got? And the table might at first look a little bit, new, but in a sense, this is the kind of thing that people would do in Excel anyway. So if you do it inside Enterprise Architect, there's great value in doing that. With this, I showed you a couple of times where I can pick different data sets. Now I can create my data sets and put different scenarios in. So I've got, particular customers. I've got, Chuck Dwyer is a gold member with 3 flights. I've got Jenny Brown, who's a gold member with 6 flights, and so on. So, lots of different ways that we can put different scenarios in. These data sets can come from Excel. So if I do that, I can pull in a data set from Excel and import and export it, and so run those, the different scenarios through the decision model. Now this is a relatively simple one. Let me just show you how big this can get. So if I look at another one, and I will just open this one up here, and I will open the model, and I'll open this one here. So this is a diagram talking about the decision to go through some sort of credit check bureau for some kind of loan application or something like that. You can see that there's applicant data here, and if I look at that applicant data, it's much more complicated than what we had in our model. We've got employment status, they're employed, existing customer, false, age, their monthly expenses, incomes, repayments, and things. And we've also got product information about the amount and the product type and the term. So a financial product. And so I can now run this simulation as well, and let's see what we get for that. So again, we have these annotations on the side of these elements, and to make it a bit kind of clearer, let's drag our friend the legend on as well onto this diagram, and we can see what kind of elements that we've got there. So with that simulation, you can see that the inputs have been annotated there against the applicant data and the requested product, and you can see what values they are. And then at each point, this thing is being evaluated. So we can say that this application risk score is 123. The pre-bureau risk category is very low. They're eligible. All sorts of things going on. And again, we can step through this and see what's going on at each point, which is very, very powerful. So I'll step through it, and I don't have a big enough screen, unfortunately, to do that, but let's just see what's going on there. That's that one going on, and I'll step through again. That's evaluating. It's evaluated to that. We keep going, and we can step through that, keep stepping through, and we're going up into this model. And I apologize again, my screen's not quite big enough to do that. And in the end, we get up here and we keep going a little bit further, and we've got through there. And it's highlighted the line in the decision model that has finally caused that result. So the kind of amazing thing about this is that, and one of the things that makes me so excited about the technology is that it allows people from very different disciplines to work together. What I haven't told you about this so far is that this model can be generated to programming code, right? So it can be generated into programming code, and that's extremely easy to do. And we just look at a thing like this, generate new script in the scripting window, and we can generate out that generate that module into a whole variety of languages: Java, JavaScript, C++, and C#. And that means that the rules that people write in this model can be generated out directly from the model. So the notion is that the business folk, and might be a business analyst working with some strategy people about trying to work out the best policies about when to upgrade a passenger under what circumstances to try and in the end increase the bottom line by maybe Mrs. Smith or Mr. Jones was disrupted. Maybe their bag was lost. Maybe they a passenger that is thinking about changing to another airline. If they get the upgrade, maybe they won't. So there are important commercial reasons for this particular scenario. But the code can be generated out to an application, and then any application, like in the airline system, a check-in application might do that. So let me just see if I can get an example up here. It won't be a minute. Code. Okay, I'm just going to drag something onto this screen. It won't be a tick. So here's a little example of an application that we've just knocked together just to show you this. Now, this is just a piece of HTML. It could be the check-in system, and the code has been generated out into a module, and we can check the upgrade here. We can change the parameters and say, what if catering's not available? And we can say, let's check that, and it's unavailable, which is what we'd expect. We can turn the catering back on again, and we can say, well, what if the passengers were underbooked? Say, -3 underbooked, and check the upgrade. Again, it's unavailable. What if we say that it is overbooked, and let's reduce it down to a bronze level? So this is, you're imagining this to be a flight check-in system that the airline might have, and the code has been generated, and this system is communicating with that. So we've gone down to a bronze member there, and let's check that, and it's been declined for some reason. So let's have a look at a silver member and check that, and they're going to get upgraded to premium economy. So that's the power of this thing, is to be able to generate the code. Now, if the decision model changes, then you just simply generate the code again, and this application will respond to that as well. So let's go back and look at some other interesting things. I'm going to close this guy for a minute, although let me just show you how complicated this can be. So here's a diagram, and I'm going to use my my pan and zoom to sort of move around it a little bit, but you can see how complicated or how involved that decision making is. So the example I've got is reasonably trivial, but when we're demonstrating things, we don't want an example that's so complicated that it takes an hour or so to even to understand the context. And I'm sure everyone's familiar with the notion of the upgrade. I certainly am. Okay, let's close this guy here for a minute, and let's look at some other things. I'm going to just, if you're not familiar with these navigation buttons, they're a fantastic thing to use. I'm using them here for the demonstration. There's a little icon here, and I can just generate a pop-up of what the window is going to look like. So what we're going to look at is some decision areas. Now, when people first started talking about about decision modeling, it was always in the context of business process model and notation. So the two go hand in hand, and much of the literature, including the textbooks, all talk about the relationship between decision modeling and BPMN. I'm just going to show you, this is where we're going to go in a minute. We're going to look at these decision areas, so health, science, environment, engineering, transport, technology, architecture, business. All of these can be used. The decision model language can be used with these. They're not kind of necessarily traditional IT areas. But let's have a look at something here for a tick. Yeah, let's look at this. So here's a. I'm just going to use my portals window here to go into a wider view, and it's not gone right for some reason. I might go into this other wide view actually. That portals window stays up into this wide view here. So here's a diagram. Well, it's not a diagram. It's a picture, if you like. So over here we have the business process model and notation. We talked about the fact that BPMN is often used to make decisions. So here's the kind of thing that people can draw when they're talking about, in this particular scenario, the passenger upgrade. So, there's a decision: is the cabin overbooked? Yes or no. Are they a frequent flyer? Yes or no. What level membership have they got? Silver member or above. Is there sufficient catering? Have they flown greater than 10k miles in the last month or something? So that's the kind of thing that ends up cluttering up a business process diagram, and also requires them to be rewritten quite regularly, because when the rules change, you have to go back and adjust all your business process diagrams. In fact, what you really want the business process diagrams to be is to be straight through processing. Now, we can replace all of that noise, if you like, of all of those gateways with this thing here that's called a business rule in BPMN. It's part of the business BPMN toolbox or language, and we can put that in, and we can relate that then to a passenger upgrade. Yeah, and so all of that noise kind of goes away. Do we upgrade the passenger or not? There's a single gateway there. And the really nice thing about Enterprise Architect, and I don't have time to talk about it today, maybe it's a topic for another session, is the BP Sim, or the business simulation engine that Enterprise Architect has available. And you can simulate these BPMN diagrams, and that can link into these decision models. It can also link in from class models, from operations as well. So there's lots and lots of things. But at a big picture level, it's the business people that are writing these diagrams and creating the tables. The IT people just sit back and wait for the code to come through. They don't need to be involved in it. You don't need to go to them and say, oh, can you simulate this? Or, can you help us with this? Because you can simulate it right here in the tool. So so there is a very strong connection between BPMN, business process diagrams, and decision modeling. But I want to show you something that, in my own work, in my own consulting practice, I do a lot more than just work in those languages. So I work in a lot of science and environment areas, engineering, transport, technology, business, health, across a lot of different disciplines. Let's have a very quick look at some of the things where we can use this. I'm going to click through on these guys now, and you'll see that this is in the health thing. I can use it for health resource allocation, for telehealth and remote patient monitoring, for risk assessment for surgical procedures, health screening and preventative care. The list goes on how we can use it, and there's a description there about the kind of things you would want, like health screening and preventative care. Decision models can access risk based on factors like age, genetics, lifestyle, medical history, and environmental exposure. So all those things can be put into the decision model and then used and also generated out to code. Let's have a look at some science things as well. Genomic data analysis, hypothesis testing and validation, chemical safety and risk assessment, astronomical event detection and observation planning. So lots of things there. And the environment, so water resource management, air quality monitoring and response, biodiversity management and species protection, sustainable land use planning, climate change mitigation strategy, forest conservation and reforestation. Let's have a quick look at this one. So here's a model, a decision model that we've got for this involving soil quality. And let's just bring up our friend, these editors. Let me just get this one back again, and I'll just readjust some windows there. I might see if my portal, where's my portal window? Portals, and I'll go into daemon simulation. Okay, so I'm using the portals there with a workspace that I've got defined, and here I've got some things going on with this model. So we've got soil quality, and we can look at the pH number, the porosity, the fertility. We can look at biodiversity, and we've got the number of species, the number of endangered species, the ecosystem variety. We've got climate conditions, annual rainfall, maximum temperature number, minimum temperature number, land use, and we can look at the decision. There we've got a number of these things here based on pH, and we haven't put them all in, but a number of endangered species. And like I said, we can then simulate this thing, and all of those factors come in and to play. And again, we can play this through and say these are the factors for the soil quality, these are land use, biodiversity, climate conditions, and then we get this result. And again, we've got highlighted those conditions that the particular factors in this decision table that have caused that to happen. So let's just take I'll go back again from this one now. I'll pause this this simulation, and we've got a whole lot of other things. We've got engineering things, material selection for product design, failure modes and effects. We've got I'll put this down again now, and we've got transport, dynamic traffic management, route optimization, toll pricing management, lots of different things. And I think in the audience we've got people that work in a diverse range of industries and disciplines where you could see how this would be applied. Technology, cloud resource management, data center management, IoT, device management, lots of things there. Architecture, enterprise risk management, architecture governance and compliance. On the business side, we've got all these things, customer service routing, loan approval processes. We kind of looked at something similar with that big model that we looked at. Supply chain inventory management, insurance premium calculations, customer loyalty. Let's again have a look at that. Again, we've got a little model under here that we can look at, and we've got customer discount. Let's have a look at this. We've got the membership level, the membership years. We've got the purchase amount, and we've got our decision in our decision table there. And so you can see that the simulation hasn't been reconfigured. I've got to click on that and then run my simulation, and we've got a 35% customer discount in that situation. We can look at other things and say, what if the expense was smaller, and what if they weren't a long-term customer but the default? And we can save that and run that again, and this time they get a 3% discount. So they're not considered to be a loyal customer. So let's stop there, and you can see how this language is incredibly powerful. Let's look at our. I'm going to close or leave home there. Close this builder for a minute. Close this one, and let's look at doing one from scratch. Now, the decision model notation language is got lots and lots of parts to it. There are incredible. It's incredibly rich in the kind of things you can do. We've been looking at decision tables, but there are all sorts of other elements that are part of this. In a presentation like this, I have to make a decision about what I should show you, and what I'm wanting to do is to really kind of excite you about the possibility of you using this kind of functionality within Enterprise Architect in your own work. And hopefully you're already getting some ideas about the kind of things and the kind of places where you could use this, and how you could run scenarios. So it is incredibly rich. There aren't just decision tables. There are all sorts of other elements as well. So let's do something from scratch so that we can see that I'm not kind of doing something using smoke and mirrors or anything. So let's have a look at this. We're going to look at this example of let me just reconfigure this application. Let's have a look at this example that we looked at of the passenger upgrade, because it's simple enough for us to get an idea of it. So I'm going to create a model here, and I'm going to call it passenger upgrade live. So I'm going to create that model. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is I might close this home diagram for a minute. That's a useful thing if you're not used to it having a navigation diagram. So it's simply using those things to get around your model. Very useful with web-based applications as well, HTML reports. So anyway, we're here on our passenger line. Let's do the first thing and let's create a diagram. First of all, I'm going to choose my perspective, and I'm going to choose, it's under requirements, I'm going to choose decision modeling. So that puts the tool into that mode. I'm going to close the builder for a moment, and I'm going to look at this passenger live. I'm going to create a new diagram, and that diagram is going to be called passenger upgrade live. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you something as well that is a useful thing for you to do. I've done this in a number of my other demonstrations, but this is a checklist, and it's when we finish this presentation, I'm going to give you this model, so don't worry about this. If you connect with me on LinkedIn and give me a way to get this model to you, then I can give you the model. So I'm going to put this over here for a moment so I can read it at the same time as doing this. So navigate to the package, create a new DMN diagram, add a decision. So I'm going to go through this thing as we're going. I won't necessarily tick all the boxes. Add a decision of type decision table named upgrade passenger. So here we are in our, I'm going to close this guy for a minute, demonstration. Down here, we're in our model, and my toolbox is there. I'm going to pin that there, and I'm going to create a decision. So I drag a decision on, and I call it a decision table. This is what I said a minute ago. There are a number of different types of decisions, decision tables, invocations, context, literal expressions, lists, and relations. The decision table is the most ubiquitous and the one that I'm going to demonstrate today. But remember, there are all these other ones as well. Okay, I'm going to call this passenger upgrade, I think. Passenger upgrade. So that's there. It's made a decision table. Now, I need to add an input data element. I need to get some data into this decision if it's going to do anything. So this thing I'm going to call customer, and I'm going to use the quick linker, useful thing, and I'm going to create an information requirements too. So that tells me that's the kind of relationship I'm supposed to have. And you'll notice these, these new guideline things, which are fantastic to line up the elements. So there's my model, and the next thing I'm going to do is to add an item definition. Now this allows me to put information in, and I'm going to call this T customer of type customer, and this allows me to put example scenarios in, or example data elements. So that's there, and okay. So now I'm going to create something that's going to be interesting for our customer. And the thing that we're interested in is we're going to put a new component in, and we're going to call that component membership. So the first kind of principle, and you can get this information, I guess if you're a travel company, you can get this information from all sorts of sources that the CEO or someone might have published. So we put that in its membership. So that was a new component, and it's called membership. And we're now going to put the values in that that this membership a person can have for a member. So this needs to be done. It's going to be a string, so it needs to be done as a string here. So gold, silver. I left platinum out, but we're not going to deal with that one at the moment. We'll sort of simplify things a little bit for the exercise. And bronze. They were kind of typical things that airlines have. I'm going to save that. Now we've got those added in quotes there, and we can go into this guy now, and it says that we can add some data for the default data for that member. I won't do that just at the moment, but we can, well, actually, let's set that now. So we can go in here, and the nice thing about it is I'm pressing the spacebar key. You haven't seen me do that, but I'm pressing the spacebar key, and that's bringing up all the possible values there. So I'm going to select bronze as being the default value. I can add other ones if I want to, and put other data in. I won't do that just at the moment. I'll delete that one. Yes, and I'll save this default as bronze. Yeah, so I've done that. Now we need to connect this item definition to this guy here. So I'm going to do that, and I simply choose the one that I want. So passenger upgrade live, item definition, and you can see that it's got the membership there, but I want the T customer, the whole thing there. And so I've set that up. And you notice that it's come through as bronze as being the default because that was the default. Now let's validate this item. So there's a validation thing here that we can press, and it comes back with 0 errors and 0 warnings. So that's a good thing. And let's go on to the next thing now. So that's validated. Browser, select the decision table. Okay, we're now going to move on to the decision. And when we created the decision, it created by default 2 inputs and an output. Many applications with a decision modeling will at least have 2 inputs, if not more. Over here is a thing called a hit policy, and we're going to use unique, but there's any, priority, first, output order, all sorts of different hit policies that you can use with the decision tables. We're going to use unique, and it's conveniently put 3 rows in there. First thing we're going to do is delete this second column because we don't need this at the moment, and we're going to look at this input column. Now, if I press the spacebar again, it brings up these things that we've already put in before. So we can go customer membership and customer membership, type in the values below, gold, silver, bronze. Okay, so again, in here, I'm going to put in, I'm going to type in, I'm going to type up in here the valid things, gold, silver, and bronze. I don't need to put those in quotes because it already knows what this is. And now I'm going to press the space bar and say this one's gold. I'll press the space bar again, and this one's silver, and I'll press the space bar again, and this one's bronze. Now, with this output thing here, I'm going to get rid of that output and say what is the output. It's a passenger upgrade because that's the decision. And again, in here, I need to put some values. And so what we're going to do is reward these passengers by putting them into a first, business, or premium economy cabins. I might save this so that my work is saved there for a tick. Again, press the space bar. This is going to result in a first class one, and if this is a silver member, they're going to get business, and this one is going to get space bar premium economy. Okay, so if we were to validate this now, I'll save this first, and then if we were to validate it, we end up with some errors. So this is a very nice thing as well. The tool has this thing of saying, look, these aren't valid expressions, so something's going on. What's actually happened is that we haven't set the types on these. So we need to set the type on this and say this thing is a string, and we need to set the type on this one and say this one's a string as well. So we can save that now run our validation again, and we're good to go with that. So everything's fine, but what we really want to do is to simulate this. So we just do a double check on this. We can just validate this first, go yes, that's all good to go. Validate this one again. I already checked it, but I always like, just before I'm going to run a simulation, to double check everything. And what did I do there? I just accidentally put an annotation column in here. So this is a column for putting comments in. So you might go, CEO, wants to reward, first class, gold members. So that's a useful thing to do, is to have those annotations and explain what this, and you can have any number of them that you want. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is to put a simulation onto the diagram. So let's do that. I'm going to just move these guys over a bit, say yes to that. And I don't need this one on the diagram anymore. And I'm going to put my legend on. Remember we had our legend so we can see what things are. So it's dynamically changing that. We can see that this is an input data and this is a decision. Next thing we do is just drag a simulation configuration onto the diagram. And let's call this passenger upgrade simulation. Not a very imaginative name, but that's what it is. And let's just save that diagram now. Okay, so we should be good to go. We're expecting, we have to click our simulation there. Now nothing comes up because we need to select which decision we're looking at. We might have 10 or 15 decisions like that big diagram I showed you before. Now we've got that right, and let's have a look at our rules there. So everything should be good to go. We know that we've got a customer and we're taking the default values. So let's hit our simulation button there now. And here we go. We've got membership bronze and we've got premium economy. And if we step through that, we can see that the rule is the fact that it's a bronze member. So that's the rudimentary things to create one of these diagrams. Let's move on a bit and do something extra now. We need to turn our simulation off, but everything's running well. I'm going to close this diagram and I'm going to open up another diagram for that, and it's called no membership. So I'm going to double click on that and drag this diagram over again into this position, and I've got my things there. Now we're going to select the customer input data and launch the item definition. Okay, so what we want to do now is we want to add the fact that someone has sent us an in-mail message, either by writing a comment or something, and they've got said that what are we doing with people that aren't any of those, don't have a membership at all. So let's look at that. And so we select the customer input and launch the item definition. So we can select that one there, and we can launch the item definition, which I took off the diagram right here. And we've got gold, silver, and bronze as being the types of inputs to this. But there is a non-member as well, and so I'm going to put none there, right? And I'm going to put none, and that should be okay there, and add the person Andrew Westlake. Okay, so we're going to save this one now, and we'll validate that again. Everything should be right. Now we're going to go into our one here, and we need to add some things here. So let's use Excel, and we'll go, okay, what about getting this one here? Airline passengers upgrade, no membership, right? So let's pull that one in. And so we pulled in a whole lot of examples of people now, and we've got, Andrew Westlake, who's a non-member. We've got Chuck Appleton, who's bronze, Teresa, who's gold, and Yuki, who's a silver. So we can save that. And again, if I was to go into these things and press the space bar, I get the whole list, and now none is in there in alphabetical order. So let's close this guy. We've saved that, and you can see now we've got this added. Now the next thing we have to do is add a new person, Andrew. Open the decision and add the value none to the list at the top. Add declined to the output list, and a new row, and select none and declined. Okay, so we're going to go in here, and we need to now the passenger upgrade, the customer membership depends upon something else, which is none. Yeah, and we need another thing here as well, another output of declined, because that's now one of our possibilities for an output. And we're going to go, we'll do that in a tick, decline. So open the decision, add decline to the output, add a new row, and select none and decline. So we're going to put a new row in. Last time we put a column in. Now we're going to put a row in, and we're going to choose our spacebar thing here, and we're going to go none, and we'll go in here again. Spacebar is doing all the kind of hard work for us. We're just kind of choosing a few things, And in the comment, I'll put, you know, no membership, no upgrade. You know, that's a little bit harsh, but something like that, just in a demonstration. So again, we'll save that. Let's do a validation on that. Now, again, should be all okay. Let's run our simulation again now. So we've done a little bit more work. Make sure that's there. Refresh that again. Now let's look at our customer there. We'll run that. Everything's normal, bronze. Let's go back now and choose a different customer and check it. We'll choose Teresa, who's a gold member, and see what she's going to get. And she gets the first class upgrade. Now let's choose the one that we put in, the new situation we put in, which was the Andrew Westlake non-member, and see what happens. And we're expecting that it will be declined, and it is. So we've got a whole lot of other things that we can do here. I'm going to do this next one. So first of all, I turn that off, and let's look at this thing again. We'll close this guy here, and we'll open up our third diagram, flight history. So let's again push this one over to here, and let's go through this. There's a little bit of work to do. Select the customer input data, and select T customer, add component name flights last month. Right. So now we had membership, but now we want to add something more complicated. Someone in the business said, hey, it's going to depend upon not only their membership, but how many flights they had last month. So, oopsie daisy, I need to get to the item definition. I check that one again, and now I put in new component, and I put in flights last month. And I don't need to put any types in there because it's not a type, but I do need to change this to a number. So I can change that to a number, and I can save that. And so add a T customer, flights last month, right click on the component, select number, select the edit the data, add the values for the flights last month. Okay, so let's do that. In the expedience of getting through this example, let's again choose an input here, flight history. Let's put that one in there and open that up. And actually, I didn't save those values, so let's just put some numbers in here. So flights last month, we'll go, 6, 3, 4 there. Flights last month, who's this? Bronze, we'll say 8, and we'll go for Teresa, can have a lot of flights, 9, and you can have 2 flights last month. So let's save that data. So we've got that saved. Okay to that. Let's validate our item definition. That's all good. So we've done that. Edit the flights last month. Decision changes. So we're going to go back to our decision table. Select the decision in the diagram and add another input column. So we're going to add another input column now. So it's not just about the customer membership. It's actually about these flights last month as well. So let's look in here and press the space bar, flights last month, and let's choose in here the select the diagram, add the select the column header and use the space bar to select flights last month, add 5 to each one. Okay, so we're going to add greater than 5 to each one. Okay, greater than 5, and we're going to go into these ones and go greater than 5, and into this one greater than 5, and we'll do the same thing for the declined one as well. Greater than 5. Okay, so let's save that. Now let's validate this and see whether our decision table is correct. And we have got a problem, and the problem is that we've got a completeness violation. The engine knows that we haven't dealt with a case where the flight last month is less than 5. So it's warning us and telling us that the expression's not, the table's not valid. So what we can do here is we can select these 3, and what we need to do is add, for every gold, silver, and bronze, we need to add one that's less than or equal to 5. So fortunately, the tool has got this feature to select, copy the rules, and now we can again paste those rules in, and we get these new rules. I can move these guys up with my control and arrow key by selecting the row first and move them up to gold. Going to move that silver one up there to be with silver. Whoopsie daisy. And I'm going to move the bronze one up to be with bronze there. So now I need to put in here less than or equal to 5 for all of these, for the ones that are doubled up. So the silver one there, I'm going to put that in for that one, and the bronze one there for that one. And I'm going to save that. So now, all things being equal, the validation, completeness, membership, last month less than 5. No rule exists for that. Something didn't save when I did that one. So what happened then? Maybe I should just put this as a blank. I think that's what I should have done. Yeah, okay, so that was, I'm not going to put anything in when it's declined. So now we've got those. Save the expression, select the validator, shows warning, select the gold, silver, bronze, and select copy the rows. Okay, validate the decision. That's all good. Let's make sure that's our simulation. And now we've got our data put in properly, and we'll just validate these other things, make sure that they're right. So we'll validate the expression first. We did that before, but like I said, I always like just to check it. And we'll validate this one. And that's all good to go. And we'll validate our table again as well. But that should be fine. Okay, so again, now we're right to run our simulation. So we'll run it on Andrew Westlake, and it's declined. So he got a decline for that. Now let's choose someone else, and let's choose Teresa. So let's see what she's got. Last month, and she's got 9 flights, and so she is past that. So we can keep going on with this thing and this example, and I would hoping that when you get the model you can do that. I'm just going to go through now and show you a couple of the other ones that we looked at. So the other thing that we're going to look at is flight history. We haven't got time to do this one, but let's do it. I'll close this guy here. Tick. So this is we've added catering here. Let me just pull on my legend. I like seeing these colors and knowing what things are about. So this time I've added catering. So let's have a look at what that looks like. We've added another input. So we're able to have as many input data types as we like. And here we've added catering, and it's a type Boolean. And we've changed our decision model to say that only if catering is true shall we allow an upgrade, otherwise it's declined. If it's false, then it's unavailable, right? So sorry, only if it's true are we going to allow the decision to be made about the upgrade. If it's false, then it's said that it's unavailable. So let's make sure we do that. Now we've got catering here as well, and we can say that the default catering is true. And let's go for our friend, well, it's got a different set of people. Let's go Jenny Brown, who's gold, and let's run that simulation there. It's unavailable. It's unavailable there. So that's because the flights catering is unavailable, right? So that stopped it from happening. So let's change that default to true and run that again. And now the upgrade goes to first. So again, we can let's just move on and look at the full picture. We haven't got time to do that, but we can look at this one where we've merged this. This is a simple thing. Oopsie daisy. We've merged the well, we haven't merged those, but I can merge these. I can merge these guys here by just pressing the merge key, and that makes it all look a bit simpler, right? So I've got those things merged. There, I can merge the bronze ones as well. So let's have a look at that. Let's have a really quick look at this this full one here of airline upgrade. So now we've got customer, we've got catering. I'll just do that. We've got customer, which is membership and flights per month. We've got catering, and we've also got how overbooked the cabin is. And I can run those simulations again, like I said, and we've got the three listed here, the customer, true, and 5 passengers overbooked, and I can run that simulation and you can see the result. So let's stop there and just go back, and like I said, I wanted to show you again this idea that this is a very simple HTML JavaScript application, but it works the same way. I've made changes to that. I can change these rules and go, okay, what happens now if I do that upgrade, do this thing, and we can, the code can be generated from that decision model, and is obviously 100% checked by the business. So the big take-home message about this whole thing is, one, that this is an incredibly powerful technology. I'm frankly, I've always been excited about this, and I just hope that you've seen something in this presentation that might light the fire inside you to think about how you could do this in your organisation and what value that it could be. Remember, it's much more than what the textbooks often say, which is about there's my navigation, which is about BPMN, but I think that these other examples in other fields are incredibly rich and incredibly powerful, that it can be used in many different fields. And like I said, there's something really quite beautiful about it, to put the power back into the hands of the business people, the business analysts, working with the core business people to come up with these decision models. And it doesn't have to be just decision tables. It can be invocations and lists and all sorts of other things, business knowledge models. And there's a lot of things that I haven't had time to show you. I made a decision about what to show you today, and I hope it's been useful. So big picture is, this is a fantastic technology. It can be used above and beyond just the BPMN. But remember, that diagram about decluttering the BPMN. I mean, that really does show you in the BPMN world how useful it can be, and to get straight through modeling without all these gateways and not needing to change it, and replace it with a simple a simple element, this business rules element, which replaces it and links to the decision models. So thank you for attending. If you would like to get this model, I'm very happy to give it to you. Just connect with me on LinkedIn. So it's Stephen Maguire at Sparx, Sparx Services Australia, and you'll find me there. Send me a message. I'll be very happy to talk to you about it in further, and I'll be on the Slack channel in a little bit. And if you've got any questions there, but in any case, if you feel like it, reach out to me through LinkedIn, and I'd be delighted to have a discussion with you about how you could use this in your own business, and give you some tips and pointers about some of the other richer features. So thank you for attending. I hope you got something out of the presentation, and I look forward to speaking to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Stephen. So we do have received some questions, and most of them requires detailed answering, which I will post them on the Slack. And there is one question I hope we can address on the session itself. So this
Yep.
question was posted by Mr. Vijay. So the question is, how does Sparx EA help in visualizing the decision-making process? Are there any built-in features for reporting and presenting decision models to non-technical stakeholders?
Sure. So, yeah, it's a great question. Thank you for the question. The decision models can be viewed through our web applications in WebEA and Prolaborate. Not all of the richness of them, but you can generate out reports. So any of the models can be generated out using the publish feature. So we can publish to a report, and they can see them. But practically, really, yes, that would be a good thing to do, but it would be best to have people in a room with this projected and just going through it. Like I said, the tables that look very much like Excel, and I don't think, my working with business people, no one has been confronted. You can simplify the application interface. Obviously, with the new version 17 due to be released, is going to have ability to to change the ribbons around and make it much simpler interface for business people. So yes, you can print them out to reports. You can view these models through the web, or you can have people in a session, in a live session, and contributing to the model and watching the results, watching the wheels turn, if you like. So thank you for the question. I hope that answers that for you.
Thank you for that explanation, Stephen. So, and the rest of the questions we have posted them on Slack. So,
Great.
and once again, thank you, Stephen Maguire, for that excellent presentation on using decision modeling to predict the future and stimulate outcomes across diverse fields. We truly appreciate your practical insights into modeling decisions with the decision model and notation language. To our audience, we hope you found today's session both informative and inspiring, and that you're eager to apply these concepts to your own projects. If you have further questions, feel free to continue the discussion on our Slack channel, where Stephen and our team will be available to provide more insights. Coming up next, we have an exciting session titled Goodbye Architecture Document, Welcome Architecture Repository by Bert Dengemans. We look forward to seeing you all there. Stay tuned for more exciting sessions ahead. Thank you.